Welcome everyone, and thanks for joining me in this presentation for the Museum's Health and Wellbeing Summit. My name is Debbie Brittain and I'm coming to you from Brisbane in Australia, where I work at the Queensland Art Gallery and Gallery of Modern Art. Commonly referred to by the acronym QAGOMA, our gallery spans across two adjacent buildings in the Cultural Centre precinct, which is located on the banks of the Brisbane River near the Central Business District. I would like to firstly acknowledge the Turrbal and Yagara people, who are the traditional custodians of the land where QAGOMA stands in Brisbane. I'd like to acknowledge the enduring history of the Australia's First Nations peoples, the oldest living culture on the planet. And I'd also like to pay my respect to elders past, present and emerging, and acknowledge their continued cultural and spiritual connection to lands and waters. Here at QAGOMA, my project officer role with the learning team involves working with student groups, teachers and educators, but I also work with visitors who are living with disability, specifically those who are living with dementia and also with their care partners. Today, I'm really excited to share information about QAGOMA's Art and Dementia program, a fairly young program that I've been involved with now since its inception around 9 years ago. I'd like to first talk about some of the main features that underpin the program's philosophy and format. I'll talk about how the program really took off to another level after some new initiatives were introduced in 2018, and also how our program currently sits in the landscape of supporting our visitors living with dementia, 80% of whom actually live at home in the community here in Australia. And then finally, I'll reflect on a few learnings that have emerged for me along the way. So maybe you already have experience with facilitating a wellbeing program yourself, or perhaps you're thinking about developing a new health and wellbeing program, maybe for visitors living with dementia where you work. I've had the opportunity to study some great peer-reviewed journal articles on the topic in my tertiary studies, and I've found that these findings from the published articles were really useful for using for benchmarking purposes to identify current research, and this idea may also help you to determine the best practice for your own museum context. The Museum of Modern Art in New York, Meet Me program, is a well-established and well-known program for their visitors with dementia. And there's also really excellent information on MoMA's website, which could be a starting point if you're wanting to learn more. The Meet Me program information definitely provided me with great inspiration and ideas back in 2011 when I was first scoping out the possibility of developing a program here at QAGOMA. So what is QAGOMA's Art and Dementia program? Well, I'd like to describe it as a therapeutic wellbeing program that fits within the gallery's suite of accessibility programs for visitors living with disability. As I mentioned, it has been developed using evidence-based research with the aim to enhance the quality of life of our visitors who are living with dementia. The format includes specially curated visual, auditory, environmental, sensory-focused components. And socialisation and validation are key characteristics as well. Research argues that improving the domains of cognition and mood through an arts-based, non-pharmacological program intervention may delay institutionalisation for people living with dementia because it provides them with sustained well-being and improved mood. Non-pharmacological arts-based programs are also found to be free of side effects experienced from medications, for example, that may be used to manage behavioural and psychological symptoms of dementia. Therefore, a therapeutic gallery or museum program offers an island of cognitive stability that stimulates neuroplasticity and creates the perfect environment to promote active engagement, empowerment, creativity and enjoyment, where individuals with dementia are free to express what they first see or wonder in that moment of slow looking, and it does not rely on explicit memory or long-term memory. The contributions can be validated by those around them and other participants in the group joining the discussion, and this encourages verbal fluency. The program is delivered on site here inside the gallery spaces to allow people with dementia to remain active and connected in their community setting. The format is structured around contemporary dementia care principles, which focuses on supporting each individual's abilities and strengths, and it also promotes access to lifelong learning and meaningful engagement. We do not set up the program in a room away from other gallery visitors, or we don't discuss artworks from printouts. We do explore each original artwork in situ within the gallery space. We run our program during regular hours, not when the gallery is closed to the public. These aspects I'm highlighting because they're important to our model, because visitors who are living with dementia value the gallery environment just like everybody else who comes, and they want to go to a place where they can engage in aesthetically rich experience, authentic experience, and they want to be able to interact in a normal setting. Consequently, we've had to apply a holistic approach to make sure there's a safe and welcoming, dementia-accessible space across the gallery experience, and this was important as our number of visitors with dementia began to grow. As a result, since 2020, a very large number of our front-of-house staff, our friendly cafe team, or other QAGOMA staff members have become dementia friends by completing a free online training module which was developed by Dementia Australia. Our gallery has subsequently been recognised by Dementia Australia in 2021 as a dementia-friendly organisation, and we are the first institution in Brisbane's Cultural Centre precinct to achieve this milestone, which is fabulous. It's meant that our installation crew, workshop team members, and others who are involved in setting up gallery rotations or undertaking operational duties understand that auditory and visual stimuli may trigger negative sensory experiences for our visitors. And so these staff support our program in a way where they can reschedule invasive work outside the hours of the program, which is incredibly helpful and very important in terms of enhancing those therapeutic outcomes and optimising engagement for our visitors during their visit. This is one simple yet impactful way that, in combination with other things, can support the quality of programming that we undertake in museums and galleries for our visitors with disability. The participants attend the program once a month. The psychosocial benefits of forming really wonderful social connections with other attendees is forged when people stay together with the same group each month. The attendance rate is really high and cancellation rates are really low, which is very validating because A, it is a free program, and often that can lead to people pulling out at short notice. And B, it involves our audience members who are living with a degenerative medical condition and carers who are carrying enormous additional life responsibilities. But participants are actually telling me that they will arrange their appointments and holidays around our program dates, which is affirming to hear because they value the program so much and they want to prioritise attending. We have about 80% of our attendees now who are coming to regular programs each month for 2 years or more. We have 5 different community programs running every month and a maximum of 6 to 7 participants with dementia, plus their supporter or care partner come to each program. This small group size is essential. It's an essential part of the QAGOMA model because it maintains a person-centred approach that can optimise well-being and function of each of the people in the program with dementia. So the program does include the carer, a spouse, daughter, son, friend, or support worker, or some participants do actually come by themselves. However, those with dementia sit in the front row. They are in the driving seat and they determine what evolves from the facilitated conversation prompts and artwork explorations. Their supporters are seated close by or behind them, and they are the experts when seating or moving our attendees around. The program starts off at the Gallery Cafe for morning tea, which is a really effective way to reorientate our participants with dementia with place and time once they've arrived at the gallery. It also offers a beautiful shared moment of relaxation with their carer. This part of our program is funded by donors. Importantly, it offers opportunities for social stimulation in a safe and inclusive setting. It also provides an easier transition for our participants to settle into the art viewing, as the cafe has this effect of lifting everybody's mood, probably because of the caffeine, or maybe they just love interacting with our awesome cafe team who get to know individuals by name. Then we leave the cafe, the small group gets together and we go on a journey somewhere in the world, or maybe just up the road, as we move into our gallery spaces to explore 2 specially selected artworks. And then this is followed by an art therapy-based making activity, which is set up with good quality materials, tactile components, and options to stimulate independence and self-determination. Autonomy is validated by us offering choice, and the visual layout and design of this pop-up workshop space within the gallery setting is strategically set up to invite interaction and to extend dwell time. In combination, tactile, sensory, and social engagement are improving our participants' capacity to experience really deep psychosocial well-being. The therapeutic benefits also extend to better mental health and well-being of their carers who come to the program, and this in turn supports them to care for their loved ones. The gallery-wide approach to improving well-being for our visitors with disability and their carers has resulted in QAGOMA's Art and Dementia program receiving the Large Workplace Award at the 2022 Queensland Mental Health Week Achievement Awards. I think this award represents a unique opportunity not only to acknowledge QAGOMA for the work that we're doing, but also to acknowledge the many other organisations in the GLAM sector who are doing work in the wellbeing programming space. Sensory and tactile props are really useful to build connections between the artwork stories and the person's own lived experiences, validating their importance, their identity, and triggering reminiscence, which enables retrieval of long-term memories. Music therapy is also another incredible way to incorporate sensory components into the program. You could be listening to music from a specific era or playing a soundscape, for example, from a rainforest track to convey meaning. As we're walking through the forest, these sensory and tactile props which we use in the program can be used to build connections between artwork stories and the person's own lived experiences, validating their importance, identity, and triggering reminiscence, which may then enable retrieval of the long-term memories that they hold. The sensory experience of touching, seeing, and smelling Sunlight soap depicted in the much-loved painting Monday Morning triggers reminiscence and sharing of personal experiences. The young lady scrubbing her laundry with a lemony fresh cake of Sunlight soap during Monday morning rituals of washing always generates animated conversation about the virtue of this legendary soap brand. And the soap is still available actually in the original familiar packaging, and we use this in the program as a prop. Similarly, the painting Under the Jacaranda evokes really strong memories of Queensland's spring weather, when the vibrant purple blooms and the carpet of fallen jacaranda flowers illuminate Brisbane streets. As we touch and hold the flowers, this often triggers memories about student life, as the arrival of these purple blooms on the tree in October traditionally signposts that end-of-year school exams are fast approaching. By 2018, our program's attendance had grown by over 500% since the program first kicked off. This point in time corresponded with generous donations from 2020 Optical and Morgan's Foundations, who contributed financial support, and this enabled me to embed some really simple but impactful grassroots additions. One thing was I was able to introduce the art therapy component at this time, and I engaged a casual art therapist to work alongside me in the program here to lead an integrated, dementia-accessible creative activity to respond to themes explored during our art viewing. Evidence suggests that art making that accompanies art viewing sustains verbal fluency and communication, and it prolongs enhanced mood and cognitive stimulation, which supports sense of well-being for people with dementia. Curbside parking is not available here at the gallery, and public transport is often not suitable for participants with declining mobility and cognitive deficits. So again, in 2018, I was able to introduce travel support to reduce the access barriers for our program visitors. The funding from our donors gave me agency to cover costs of prepaid reserved car park spaces at the gallery or to book return taxi travel. And this supports our participants and carers to have a stress-free transport option to make it into our central business district location. I think this initiative has enabled our participants now to remain in the program for longer. Therefore, they can gain benefits from sustained quality of life through this meaningful engagement program and social connectedness also for longer, and it reduces carers' stress and fatigue. It has decreased travel time and the planning involved to get here, and also removes financial burden associated with getting into the program. This initiative has been really impactful. Some participants have now been able to stay with the program every month for up to 5 years. Many have been attending for 3 years or more, and the travel support which we're providing provides the capacity for our art and dementia program to help people who may be confined to wheelchairs, especially towards the later stages of the disease. Therefore, increasing cognitive, tactile, sensory, and social engagement, which I've identified in the research, has helped me to improve our program's capacity to enhance our visitors' well-being. And this new format grew our program's audience base, and as a result, our reputation has also grown. The role of social prescribing by practitioners to support well-being of patients via museum and art gallery visits has a long way to go yet in Australia in terms of becoming accepted practice. However, the Art and Dementia program now has a stream for people living with younger onset dementia, which is designed specifically for people with dementia who are aged between 45 to 65 years, who have unique social needs. And this initiative came about in 2019, actually, after hospital geriatricians here in Brisbane reached out to integrate non-pharmacological support from our program to improve the well-being and quality of life of their dementia drug trial participants who are undergoing treatment. This also opened up new pathways for me to build valuable professional networks as well. We have 2 programs each month now available for patients who are part of the younger onset dementia drug trial program, as well as for other people who are living in the community with younger onset dementia. This opportunity to support a community need within the scope of our existing program structure has translated into a really effective and well-attended audience program. So fast forwarding now to the most recent results of our program. In 2022, we ran with a full capacity of 72 programs delivered for more than 800 visitors with dementia. The program could, I think, easily run at capacity 5 days a week. But the scope of our program is governed by a modest budget, and it does have limitations on human resourcing. However, being able to sustain a quality, impactful and authentic wellbeing program, even in small scale, requires the lived experience of those living with dementia to be at the heart of the program design. This is a key factor that I'd like to share, which also enables you to grow connections for ongoing consultation with dementia advocacy groups, dementia alliances, and also to be able to maintain an audience-centric model. So contemporary best practice learnings and exchanges with experts in the field, while benchmarking widely, has provided me with critical ingredients for being able to improve QAGOMA's wellbeing program here. But developing a wellbeing program that represents your own art gallery or museum's identity and strategic direction, relevant to your own demographic and your own audience focus, I believe, will champion the most sustainable and local program. I am a fan of developing a scalable model approach, which can be useful for trialling a pilot version initially. It can be adapted and expanded with iterations or translated for other museum-based wellbeing programs, or perhaps scaled back when unexpected issues arise, such as a COVID outbreak. I hope that this presentation about QAGOMA's Art and Dementia program and my journey along the way has left you inspired or given you some helpful information for developing ideas for a sustainable and meaningful wellbeing program that has relevance for your visitors. I am available to answer any questions that you might have about any of the aspects discussed in this presentation, and also welcome other questions that you may have about the QAGOMA program. Thank you so much for tuning in, and bye for now.